Sit back, relax and enjoy listening. You don't understand. RK's voice is hoarse, his throat raw. I have to. Jill clenches his jaw, his pulse hammering. No, you don't. RK blinks slowly, like it takes too much energy to do even that. Yes, I do. Jill shakes his head, his frustration twisting into something dangerously close to fear. RK, no one is forcing you. No one is expecting you to. RK exhales, a sound that is more pain than breath. I am. Silence. Jill feels his own hand shake. You what? RK doesn't look away, doesn't blink, doesn't back down. I expect myself to. Jill swallows, his throat tight. RK, you're not well. You. RK exhales shakily, his fingers slipping from Jill's wrist as he sits up straighter. His body sways, his muscles barely holding him together, but still he sits up. And then RK speaks again. I made a promise. Jill's breath catches. I can't break it. And just like that, Jill feels something crack inside him. A promise? To who? To what? It doesn't matter. Because RK isn't thinking about himself. He never has. And that is the very thing tearing Jill apart. A sharp knock at the door makes everyone flinch. A staff member peeks inside, voice cautious yet firm. RK, it's time. You need to come now. Jill doesn't even hesitate. His body moves before his mind catches up. He's not coming. The words leave his mouth like steel. Absolute. But before the staff member can respond, I'll be there in 5 minutes. Jill's head snaps toward RK, disbelief crashing into him like a wave. What? The staff member hesitates. RK, just 5 minutes. RK's voice is quiet, hoarse, but there's no room for argument. Please, delay it. A pause. Then, with a reluctant nod, the staff member steps back. The door clicks shut behind them. And just like that, RK moves. Not toward Jill. Not toward the others. To the mirror. Without another word, without acknowledging anyone in the room, he forces himself to stand. His legs shake beneath him, every movement sluggish, strained, but still he walks. Jill watches frozen. RK reaches the small sink, his trembling hands gripping the edges as he leans forward, staring at his own reflection. The dim lights cast harsh shadows over his face. He looks worse than before, pale, worn, barely holding together. But he doesn't falter. He cups his hands under the running water, splashes his face, rubs at the exhaustion clinging to his skin. He grips the counter, breath uneven, before straightening his posture, or at least trying to. Jill's and Member's chests tighten. He's forcing himself, forcing his body to move, forcing himself to look okay. But he's not okay. And that realization makes something inside Jill and Member snap. RK, stop. RK doesn't. He grabs a towel, patting his face dry with trembling hands, pretending he doesn't hear him. Jill's fists clench. Stop acting like you can do this. RK ignores him again. He drags a hand through his damp hair, trying to fix the mess, trying to look like someone capable of standing under those bright lights, trying to erase the image of a man who just minutes ago could barely breathe. RK exhales slowly, hands gripping the counter again. His knuckles turn white, his arms trembling with the effort of keeping himself upright. Another member steps forward, voice urgent. RK, listen to us. You can't do this. But RK pushes off the counter. He wobbles, barely catching himself, but he keeps going. He grabs a jacket, struggles to put it on. His fingers fumble with the fabric, his breath coming out in shallow gasps. He's falling apart. And still he keeps going. Someone swears under their breath. Another member steps closer, reaching out as if to grab him, to stop him physically if they have to. But Jill beats them to it. He strides forward, standing right in front of RK, blocking his path. Look at yourself. RK stills. Jill's voice shakes, but his anger, his desperation doesn't waver. You can barely stand. You can barely breathe. And you think you can perform. RK exhales, his breath shaky, his jaw clenching as if to hold himself together. But this time, when he speaks, there's no sharpness, no defiance. Only desperation. Please. Jill stiffens. RK isn't standing firm anymore. He's stumbling. His legs threaten to give out beneath him, his entire body swaying. He grips Jill's arm. Not to push him away, not to fight back, but to hold himself up. Jill, RK's voice cracks, barely more than a whisper. Please. I can't stay here. Jill's breath catches in his throat. I can't just sit here. RK continues, his fingers clutching Jill's sleeve like a lifeline. I'll fall apart if I do. I have to go. I have to do this. Jill shakes his head, his heart pounding. RK, no. You don't have to. I do. RK's voice rises, not in anger, but in sheer, unfiltered pleading. His knees buckle slightly, and Jill instinctively reaches out, steadying him before he collapses. I can't stay here. RK whispers again, his head lowering, his grip tightening. Please don't make me stay here. The room falls into silence. The other members look at each other, their previous frustration fading into something else. Concern, worry, fear. Jill's hands tremble as he holds onto RK's shoulders, steadying him. He can feel how weak he is, how fragile. And yet, RK is still begging to go. Not out of duty, not out of stubbornness, out of fear. Jill grips RK's arms, steadying him. But nothing can steady the weight of the words that come next. RK's breathing is unsteady, his entire body trembling. His fingers clutch onto Jill's sleeve with what little strength he has left. And then, if I stay here, I won't be able to live. Silence. Dead. Crushing. Unbearable. Jill's mind goes blank. The other members freeze, their frustration vanishing in an instant. Every single thought, every single argument they had gone. Because RK just said that. RK, the one who never bends. The one who carries the weight of the world on his shoulders without ever letting it show. The one who never lets himself break. And yet here he is, standing before them, barely able to hold himself up. Not fighting, not resisting, just pleading, and saying the one thing that terrifies them more than anything else. Jill's breath catches, his chest tightening so hard it hurts. RK. RK shakes his head weakly, his voice barely above a whisper. I can't stay. I can't. I won't survive if I do. For a moment, Jill forgets how to breathe. He knows RK. He knows the kind of person he is. RK never speaks without meaning it. He never exaggerates. Never says things just for the sake of saying them. Which means, Jill swallows, his throat raw. RK means it. And that is more terrifying than anything else. The other members look at each other, their anger shattering into something else entirely. Fear, worry, guilt. Jill's hands tighten around RK's arms. He wants to argue. He wants to stop him. But how can he? How can he fight against something like this? For the first time, Jill feels powerless. The room stays silent, heavy with the weight of what's just been said. No one moves. No one speaks. And then RK does. Without another word, he turns. Still trembling. Still weak. But moving. And no one stops him.